I was a Trump supporter. I don't know how long I can keep doing this. I have a construction company, and not a fucking thing is getting done. This is what I get. This is what I fucking get. Nothing but white boys. It takes 4 days to do a 1-day job. I might have fucked up.
I didn't care how things were affecting others until it affected me. Am I proud of that? No. We live in a very cruel world, and sometimes the only way to survive is by being selfish. We are all just out here trying to survive as best we can. And although we may have good intentions and we may be empathetic and we may be compassionate, we will always put ourselves first because we have to survive. And if that means making a mistake in my vote or maybe putting my trust in the wrong person like I did, then that's what it means. I will always put the betterment of my family and vote in ways that I think will help my family above anyone else.
Here's the problem with voting for your self-interest. I understand Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When you're on the bottom and none of your needs are fulfilled, you can only think of yourself. But here's the problem with that, is you voted for your self-interest. So did everybody else in the Republican Party. Think about that for a minute. You voted for your self-interest, but you don't have anything. Like, you don't have anything. Like, that's what it is. But other people, rich people, they have a lot. So of course they're going to vote for their self-interest because they have something. You don't. You need the tribe, right? The socialized healthcare, the socialized dental care, schools, firefighters, police officers, all socialized systems. Is it clicking yet? You voted against the tribe. You know, humans didn't make it on their own. We always existed in a tribe, taking care of each other. You could only take care of yourself if you have something, and you don't have shit.
I left the left a couple of weeks ago, and I would just like to apologize anyone who saw any post, comment, repost of mine that had any sort of leftist ideology and propaganda. I was so wrong. I can't even begin to explain how it feels to realize that you've been fed propaganda for years. For 32 years of my life, I have been an independent but left-leaning and Democratic voter. I'm so sorry. I fell right into the propagandist, radical, leftist craziness. Please understand that the woke mind virus is very real. It's very real, and it is embarrassing as hell coming out of something like that. However, I'd like to say that I am so grateful to every Republican and conservative that has been so kind to me and welcoming and forgiving. I'd also like to apologize to the autism parent community. I took part in the propaganda about eugenics. I made several cringy videos about eugenics in regards to what RFK was doing and what Trump was doing. And I was so wrong. Not only was I wrong, but it is absolutely inappropriate for me to have judged any of you for wanting a cure to autism or just information about autism. I myself have a profoundly autistic, soon-to-be 7-year-old. After doing my research, I understand, and I can't begin to tell you how sorry I am. I've started to delete comments that I've left on some of your videos from, the months prior. There's just so many. My entire TikTok has been, I was a leftist the entire time. And so I don't know that I will be able to delete every single mistake that I have made. However, please understand that I am very sorry. I understand that I was wrong, and I no longer align with any of that. I realize that this is going to cause me to lose a lot of followers. That's okay. I don't have that many to begin with. I've already lost my best friend over this, so you really can't hurt me. If you find yourself trying to criticize me or leaving hate comments, that's fine. I understand. I was like you. I did those things too. Also like to apologize to this administration for being skeptical and for spreading misinformation and propaganda, leftist propaganda. I understand now, and I am in full support of this administration. And I, again, am so sorry. So sorry.
Have y'all seen that video of that woman who's pregnant in the state of Texas? This is her third baby and she's in her last trimester. Now, she's an older woman, so she's having some complications with the pregnancy and she's even high risk. She went to her OBGYN and her OBGYN is explaining to her that she probably should go to another state for the next few weeks and deliver her child in another state. And of course, the woman is confused because she's not understanding why the doctor thinks she should go to another state just because she's high risk. So the doctor explains to her that if that baby dies inside of her body and she goes into septic shock, they're not allowed to do anything. Because in the state of Texas, unless you go into labor naturally, the doctors can't push you into labor to try to save your life. The goal is to save the life of the child. And if the baby is unalived inside of her body could go into septic shock and she can die. And the only people who can do something for her is people who are not under these new abortion bans. The OBGYN explained to her that that's a late-term abortion. And this woman thought that a late-term abortion meant that a woman who did not want to have their child was giving birth to the baby, and then the doctors were unaliving the children after they were born. She called her husband, and her husband said, "This is a liberal doctor trying to push an agenda, and you need to find a new doctor." And now she's on the internet crying because she can't understand why her life can't be saved. Now, she voted for Donald Trump. She voted for Governor Abbott. She fully said that she is MAGA. And now she's worried that her children are going to grow up without a mom because of her vote. People who are pro-choice are not pro-abortion. People who are pro-choice are pro giving the woman the choice to choose whether or not her life should be impacted by a pregnancy. And now she's learning firsthand exactly how that choice could save her own life.
Hey MAGA voters, this message is for you. I know how excited you guys get every time one of these undocumented immigrants is stripped away, actually physically pulled away from their little children or their wives or their husbands and detained and put into a concentration camp surrounded by alligators and serpents. I know that gets you really excited, but I just thought I'd give you a quick lesson in macroeconomics, especially for those of you that have no money. You're about to go broke, and I'll tell you why. See, here's the thing about America. Undocumented immigrants are a fundamental piece of our economy. It will not work without them. See, many of these people, most of them, pay taxes. They get few benefits, but they do actually pay taxes. They grow the gross national product, and they hold the fabric of America together by doing jobs that spoiled Americans will not do. Okay? This also causes inflationary pressure, which means everything is going to get a lot more expensive. So every time you celebrate one of these poor people being detained and deported, just keep in mind, you're one person closer to going broke. You're going to lose everything you have. And remember who you voted for. You voted for someone who doesn't even know what macroeconomics means, doesn't know the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics, okay? You voted for a dunce, and he's going to be your undoing. But keep in mind that he's really rich, and all the people in the GOP that are sucking up to him, see, they're really rich too. So I hope you're really rich, because if you're not, you're going to go broke, and you're only going to have yourself to blame.
Ah, what a beautiful morning. So grateful that Trump got in office. Life is going to be so much easier again.
A few moments later.
So I just got the quote from the dentist in Mexico I've been looking to go see because, no offense to my current dentist in the United States, I love him. He does a really great job, and I wish I could go to him. I just can't afford dental care in the United States.
Own the libs. Are you winning yet? No, because you played yourself. These are the females who lack the spine and the courage to step into a private voting booth and vote to safeguard their own rights as women. They're so weak that they actively participate in their own downfall, allowing men to use them as tools to strip away their own rights and help strip away the rights of us all as women. This is what happens when you're gullible enough to fall for the conservative patriarchal illusion of a traditional family, where the man is supposed to be the leader, but in reality, that so-called provider is a failure, leaving you, his wife, so financially helpless that you are forced to rely on the very people that y'all demonize and cheer to be deported just to survive. Now look at you crossing the border into Mexico. Yes, the same Mexico you clutch your pearls over just to be able to afford health care. You're out here bragging about voting for Trump, yet you can't even afford to put America first under Trump. You're out here fighting for white supremacy, but white supremacy ain't fighting for you. Make it make sense. And the best part, this is just a warm-up, so buckle up because the real struggle hasn't even started yet.
So, I used to be a MAGA Republican. Let me just kind of explain why I jumped from MAGA over to Kamala Harris. So let me just kind of sit back and explain. It actually just happened recently. So let me just kind of back up. In 2016, I voted for Donald Trump. Why? Because I was afraid. I was scared of Clinton, and it worked. And all 4 years of Trump being in the office, I felt secured, I felt validated. And then after 2020, just like everyone else that's on that ship, I believed him. I genuinely believed that, our election was stolen. I believed that there was some mass conspiracy. And I genuinely felt the guy. I was like, whoa, if he's going to get prosecuted, I could be next. And that was the narrative and the thought process that I was being fed. I also was listening to a lot of outlets and a lot of voices that validated my concerns, and that was the thing, is that, and I don't want to say I was unwilling to listen to any other debate, but I was always afraid to have a debate with somebody. And that was what it's been ever since before the 2016 election. It was at a point where I was afraid to talk about my political beliefs because I had seen my friends get attacked, like literally physically attacked, and had, their personal lives attacked. They had people around them that were attacked just for having a simple difference of opinion than somebody else. And then another thing that I was afraid of, which was being promoted quite a bit, was that there was a lot of illegal immigrants that were coming across the border, and they're hurting people, they're doing damage, they're hurting this country, XYZ. And I'm like, and I've always been pro-immigration. I'd always been pro-immigration. I'm like, yeah, immigrants are what make this country amazing because they bring the best parts of their culture and the way they think about things and make this country better, make this country great. And that was what I was a staunch supporter of. But the biggest thing was, again, the thing that drove me the most to continue to back him was fear. It was the fear of other. It was the fear of somebody coming to hurt me. It was the fear of somebody coming to hurt my family. It was somebody, that was wanting to take away my livelihood. It was also the fear of just using my voice in general to either to be afraid of talking about the things that were important to me, and to be afraid of even being knowledgeable about politics or anything like that. But what changed my mind this cycle, and I think this is probably very true for a lot of other Republicans, especially former MAGA Republicans like myself, former MAGA, was Kamala Harris I don't know how it happened or why it happened, but she brought the joy of politics again. Like she has given us the confidence to say with our chest, like for me, I'm all about women's right to choose. Like it goes beyond abortion. It goes down to just basic specialized care that women need, whereas men don't need, you know. Mental health is another big thing that we all need to talk about too. Being able to find ways to, you know, secure our border, actually having a concise plan for, you know, for your average American as far as the economy goes, you know, being able to say, hey, look, we're going to tax this group of people because they have too much money, and then it's going to boil down and help fund programs to help average everyday Americans. You know, those things right there made me say, you know what? I shouldn't be afraid anymore. I shouldn't. That's been the key ticket for Donald Trump and a lot of other Republicans who stay behind Trump, who are loyal to him. Their platform is fear, and it has been fear. Fear of fear of invaders, fear of people coming and hurting you, the fear of somebody coming and taking your rights away, the fear of, you know, pushing the fear that if you don't vote for him, that you're going to be voting for some dictatorial type of government. And the policies that he has planned, the proposals that he has planned, are an overreaction to a supposed fear. And I keep using that word over and over again, but that's basically what the main reasons why was. I believed that we were doing better under Trump, back in 2016 through up to 2020. I felt that we were doing better, which was not true. You know, he carried on a lot of the policies from Obama, and we are currently living under Trump's tax plan right now. Like currently, I didn't realize that until I actually dug a little deeper. But my point is that I switched because I felt happy. I felt good about it. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's finally have a discussion. Let's talk about things. Let's not be afraid anymore. Let's actually think about things. And, you know, and like I keep saying on all my other videos, just keep letting him talk. And him talking was what drove me to say, no, I'm not doing this anymore. So anyway, wanted to give you guys insight. I was a former MAGA Republican. I was fervently behind Donald Trump, but as you can see from my last videos, that's clearly not the case. Please continue to have these respectful, honest, really, really respectful discussions. It really does mean a lot. Thank you guys. Keep going. Move forward.
Hi guys, welcome back once again to YouTube channel. I really hope you have watched the full conversation of the clip. And funny thing is that Trump voters, they have still to given up. And funny thing is that these people are the ones who voted for this. These people are the ones who choose this pathway. And another thing that maybe a lot of people maybe are really talking about this is that these people were really warned, but they didn't listen. A lot of black people really came out in large number, and they really want them not to vote to vote for this new admission, but they didn't listen. They voted against their own interests. They voted against racism. They voted against hatred. And right now, we have all seen how there is a lot of things that are really happening in America. The cost of living, it has really risen up to a point whereby these people can't even afford basic needs. They are crying out for help of how the unemployment rate, it has really risen up. And these are the same people who really voted for deportation of immigrants, because they really thought that immigrants were the same people who were taking their jobs. They really thought that the immigrants, they have taken all over the jobs, and this is the reason why they really wanted ahead and they voted for deportation of immigrants. But right now, there is no still job in America, and a lot of white farmers, they really came out in large number, and the ones who are really crying out for help, simply because they also voted against their own interests, and they feel like maybe the Trump really betrayed them a lot, because they were truly convinced to vote to deport all the illegal immigrants, not putting in mind that these illegal immigrants were the same people who are really helping them to do or to pick these food crops in their farm. Right now, a lot of farmers, they are really losing their farms. They have really gone bankrupt to a point whereby they are also giving it up, and they are calling out other people to go and help them in their farms, especially black people. But black people, they have really refused. They are saying that these people, if you didn't vote against your own interests, or you didn't vote against out of hatred or out of racism, there could be no such problem. So that deal with their own problem. Just call your MAGA families or call your families to go and help you pick your food crops in your farm. And we have all seen how things has really changed, and we really hope things will be better. We really don't know if America could be great again, because right now a lot of people are really saying that American dream is no more, simply because of how they're really truly going through a lot of how life it has really changed, and a lot of people that are really just crying out for help. But we really hope things will be better. One thing one thing reason why these white people are really giving up easily is that maybe they have reached at a point, you can reach to a point that there's no way you can really just help yourself, because you have gone through a lot. You have cried for help, but there's no one who is really helping you. Talking about maybe crying out for help, you have all seen how white farmers, they want government to bail them out. They want handouts from the government, and a lot of people that really came out in line number, and they're saying that there's no socialism for you, because when other people were really suffering, when other people really wanted the government to bail them out or to help them, you came out and told these people to work very hard to pull out the bootstrap. But right now, you are the one who didn't want socialism, and right now you want government or you want handouts. So a lot of people in America right now, what can I really just say, they are suffering, and they really came out in that number, and they're saying that Americans is just for millionaires and billionaires. If you don't have money, you can't survive in America. If you don't have maybe work to do, you can't survive in America, because you are busy chasing your dream. You are busy chasing how you will work, how you will eat, how you will cater for your family, how you will able to support other families from other side. But right now, unemployment rate has really increased a lot, and this is the reason why MAGA supporters and white people from America, they have started to give up. They have come to a point that they have realized that they really did a very big mistake. If they could listen to black people could really help them a lot, but they didn't want to listen to black people, because they didn't want to put another person of a different skin color in an office. And that's the reason why maybe they're suffering. And black people, they ain't talking. They just remain silent, because they are saying that this is not their fight. They have been used to this. They have been through this for a very long period of time. And one thing I really love about black brothers is that they usually turn to their God. The strong faith they really have, it has really helped them to maneuver and to survive in America currently. And right now, we really hope things will be better in America, and we are really praying for these people maybe to gain their maybe standard life, and to be back to business, and really hope American dream could be normal. And the lesson that these people should learn is that you should not maybe vote maybe to hurt your own brother and sister. You should not vote out of hatred, out of racism. You should not vote against out of hatred, out of racism, because one thing these people really did, that they were voting to hurt other people. They really didn't knew that this new administration, when they were voting, to just affect everybody that's living in America. They really thought that when they were voting to punish other races from America, especially black people, the Latinos and the immigrant. But right now, we've all seen this new administration just affecting everybody that's living in America. And this is the lesson these people should learn a lot. We should not vote to hurt your brothers and sisters, and things will be better. We really hope things will be better. And guys, if it was for the first time I come across my video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe and share. Thank you so much for your time. May God bless you whenever you are. One love.